I think you were all absent one day and we talked a little bit about marginal benefit and marginal cost. And so this is just kind of a quick video to give you a sense of that. Just 3 slides, and it's really the last slide that is the graph that's most important. There's 2 types of efficiency, and so something to note down from this slide is this term allocative efficiency. When we talk about productive efficiency, we're talking about a society that's producing on their PPC and getting some combination of 2 goods, say X and Y, and they are using all of their resources. They're not underemploying the resources. They're not trying to produce, an impossible point. They're producing using all of their resources. Allocative efficiency kind of suggests something different. Allocative efficiency is if we take good Y and we say how much of good Y does society really want? That is a question that is really up to that society, right? So the optimal point, what's better, for example, point A or point B, that's really up to allocative efficiency. It depends on a society's marginal benefit and marginal cost of every next, kind of product of Y to really determine how much of Y they want, okay? Just like we're doing as a society with vaccines, we're trying to determine at any given point in time, how many vaccines do we need? Well, when we had none, there was a great deal of interest in getting the first, few vaccines. They were incredibly valuable. The marginal benefit may still be greater than the marginal cost. At a certain point, right, the marginal benefit may be different than the marginal cost. I'm just going to flip the slide for a second. Okay, so allocative efficiency, here's our PPC again. This just kind of shows us, we can't really tell based on this drawing which one of these points is allocatively efficient. Point A, point B, point C, point D, these are all productively efficient. Society is using its resources at all of those combinations, but how do we know, say, for example, if point C is best? And that's where we would really use the concepts of marginal benefit and marginal cost. So let's explain those a little bit, okay? First of all, the marginal benefit, marginal cost graph is not a PPC, okay? So it's related to the PPC. Let's imagine that this is a PPC where the society can produce some sort of quantity of pizza, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do, or shoes, okay? So some quantity of pizza and shoes, and let's say, it's producing right here. The question becomes, how do we know that society wants that quantity of pizza, right? What happens if the society decides they want more pizza? How do we kind of measure that and show that in an economics graph, okay? We use this concept of marginal benefit and marginal cost, okay? This should say benefit right here. Let's look at these curves. So the marginal benefit curve, something that we notice about it, it's downward sloping, okay? So we're looking on an x-axis here at quantity. This is quantity of pizzas. This could be in, units of like 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, we have the first 100 pizzas, the second 100 pizzas, the third 100 pizzas, and so on, okay? But this is quantity of pizzas. Note that even though I have 2 products on the PPC, I'm really only graphing marginal benefit and marginal cost for one. Right now, I'm not interested in shoes. I'm just interested in pizza. I can compare the marginal cost and the marginal benefit of the next pizza that the society might produce. So on the x-axis, we have quantity. On the y-axis, we actually have, in dollar amounts, benefit and cost, okay? The value of how much it benefits society for every next 100 pizzas, and how much would it cost for every next 100 pizzas. Because this is marginal benefit and marginal cost, we're interested in like the next pizza and the next pizza. And because these are in intervals of 100, we're going to do the next 100 pizzas, okay? So for example, if the society said, let's produce, 100 pizzas. If I produce 100 pizzas, the marginal benefit of producing the first 100 pizzas is $45. What does that mean? That tells me that the society is saying for that first 100 sets of pizzas, right, they're willing to pay $45 for every single individual pizza, okay? So $45 is a lot for a pizza, right? That's a pretty good, willingness to pay. That means a lot of marginal benefit. Maybe it's a very hungry society. Maybe they haven't had pizza in years, right? So those first 100 pizzas are very, very valuable. Something we notice about the marginal benefit curve is that over greater and greater and greater quantities, marginal benefit tends to decline. By the time you get to the 1,000th pizza, it doesn't taste as good as the first few did, right? We have a diminishing utility, so we end up with a declining marginal benefit curve. Marginal cost, which is this upward sloping curve, okay, so marginal cost is usually an upward sloping curve. Same X and Y axis. And we have quantity, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, quantity on the x-axis and dollars on the y-axis. In this case, we're talking about the dollars of how much does it cost to produce the first 100 pizzas, the second 100 pizzas. So whereas the first 100 pizzas, people were willing to pay $45 for the first 100 pizzas, that's $45 a pizza for every next, pizza, up to the 100th pizza, it costs on a marginal level $10, right? So should the society produce these 100 pizzas? Definitely, right? They're getting $45 worth of benefits. People are willing to pay $45 a pizza. It only costs $10 to make. Should they do it? Yes, but they shouldn't stop there, right? Because there's this huge gap here. Marginal benefit is so much greater than marginal cost. This is a society that could get a lot more pizza. Clearly, they still have some benefit that's kind of needing to be used. The number of 200, is marginal benefit still greater than marginal cost? Yes, produce 200, 300, 400. The rule of thumb is that we're going to keep producing up until the point where marginal benefit is equal to marginal cost. The minute you're about to produce that next pizza where the marginal cost is actually going to be higher to produce that pizza than the benefit of what somebody's willing to pay, stop there, okay? You're not going to produce the 501st pizza, okay? It makes no sense if you're looking at calculating every next pizza's marginal benefit and marginal cost. You keep producing when marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost. If you don't keep producing, you would be a society under allocating their resources. If I was a society and I said, you know what, I'm going to produce 200 pizzas, right? At that 200 pizza, some people are willing to pay $40 a pizza and it only costs $15 a pizza. This tells me that this society could be using its resources better. More resources could be dedicated to making pizza, which is what people really want. They have a lot of marginal benefit for that, okay? At a certain point in time, as we get to 500, marginal benefit equals marginal cost. Anywhere less than 500, the society's under allocating their resources, they should produce more. They should produce more up until the point where marginal benefit is equal to marginal cost. If they actually go beyond that 500 and they do 501 or 600 or let's say 800, in this case, the marginal benefit of the 800th pizza is only $10, right? That's what the benefit is. In this case, the marginal cost is much higher. It's higher than $35. So if the marginal cost is greater than the marginal benefit, we are over allocating our resources. We're making way too much pizza and society doesn't want it that much. The marginal benefit at this point, this quantity of 800, my marginal benefit is 10, my marginal cost is 35. Don't produce that, okay? For every next pizza, if you're producing 800 or 900, whatever, I don't have my glasses on, I guess it's 800. For every next pizza, your marginal cost is much greater. So we never want to be over allocating our resources. We never want to be under allocating our resources. We want to be giving society exactly, what the quantity that it wants, where marginal benefit is equal to marginal cost, okay? The one last thing that can get a little bit confusing with this is that these curves don't necessarily stay the same. So they shift, okay? So say that we are talking about vaccines and say that maybe we were talking about, flu shots, right? And flu shots maybe before COVID, right? And maybe there was a certain quantity of flu shots, that were kind of bought and sold, and this is the quantity of flu shots that society was involved with. Well, maybe after COVID, right? What happened to the marginal benefit of getting a flu shot? People might be a little extra worried about getting sick this year. Maybe there's greater concern and awareness about vaccines. I don't know this is the case, but let's kind of imagine that it is. This could be something that could actually increase the marginal benefit curve. In other words, at every single price or every single value, we can have a greater and greater quantity at that value. So the marginal benefit curve, we've increased the marginal benefit curve. This is basically suggesting that now the allocatively efficient point is no longer 500. This is a society that clearly wants more flu vaccines. The allocatively efficient quantity is now 700. If the society continues to produce 500, they are actually going to be allocatively inefficient or under allocating their resources, or they should increase the quantity of flu shots, okay, to the point where marginal benefit equals marginal cost, okay? I hope that helps. Have a really good rest of the night, and I will see you in class.